Okay, so we don't have a lot of people, unfortunately. So in the first day of class, and if you have any difficulty traveling, is just stay home until hopefully the snow gonna get clear on Tuesday. Okay, so let me just go through the syllabus. So you can definitely gonna have that, and so our class will be meeting on Monday and Wednesday at 10:05 to 12:05 p.m. I just forgot to, write the announcement in class saying that a meeting had to be on Zoom. And I do have office hour on Monday, Wednesday. It's a B01. I'm definitely gonna give you the room numbers. Forgot to adjust that. And I just want to mention like a couple of things. I can put it down right here. The notes will be done on hand. So this will be done for the entire semester, not just for a single class that we have today. So once we come back on campus, I would definitely gonna post. We definitely gonna do the lectures on this app most of the time because my handwriting is not good. So let me just go over the syllabus that we have. So essentially that we're going to have a homework assignment. The homework assignment will be posted hopefully by today, and it will be due 2 weeks after. So homework is gonna be 30% of the grade. So this is a very, very important part of your grade that if you forgot to do the homework, the grade will be so much lower than what you expected. Even if you got a good grade on the first or second exam, but if you didn't do the homework, that would affect your grade tremendously. So we're gonna have the homework that will be 30% of your grade, and we also have exam one, exam two, which is 15% each. The total gonna be 30% as well. And like I said, if you do the exam, let's say if you're not doing too well on the exam, but you did well on the homework assignments, and that's gonna help you a lot to get a good grade. You might just balance out. Let's say you got 80, I'm sorry, 65 in the exam, but you got 100 on the homework, so your grade should be about B minus or something. And then the thing that we have would be the project. So we going to have like two project. Uh, Project one and two. Project one we posted after we finish the matrix, and project two will be posted after we finish the second exam. So we're gonna have like before the second exam, hopefully. So we could have like some review on how to get it done. And lastly, that we have the final exam. So the final exam um will be 20%. I know it's not going to be a lot of percentage, but you must take the final exam to pass the course. Is So the total will be 100%. So all students must take the final exam in the last day of class to pass the course. So it doesn't really matter. It doesn't really matter if you do extremely well on the exam one, exam two, project one, project two, and the homework, but you do not take the final exams, you will not be able to pass. So the final exams schedule can be found on the course timeline. So you have to go to content, and this is all we have to do. Just click on a day. So we do have the exam one. It will be on um, February 25th. Exam two, that will be on uh, March 23rd. And the final exams, it will be on May 13th. So, and all of these days have been settled. I won't change it. Um, we must take the exams. So you basically got informed, earlier before the exam, so we should know what to prepare on it. I will basically give you guys some practice questions. Those are very similar exam questions, so we can just do it. And then once the exam comes, you know exactly what to do. All right, so I just want to uh, I just want to let you know the date for the exams. Exam one is going to be on February 25th. And it's going to cover chapter one and two. I'll let you know what it is. Exam two will be on March 23rd. It's going to be covered chapter three and chapter 10. And the final exam, it's on May 13th. I know it's going to be the last day of class, so we must take the final exams on that day. There's no exception if you miss the date. You might have to take the defer examination from the math department, which will be settled on around June or July. So that's going to be a lot of work. You have to catch up if you miss the final exam. So the final exam might not be similar to um, the exam review questions and some questions that I pointed out during the final exam review on May 4th, May 11th. So the final exam is cumulative. This include all the chapter, but I will basically give you more focus question. I just want to let you know that a calculator is required. Um, if you don't have a calculator, you have to get it from the library before the exams, like during the exam. So you have 2 hours to get the calculator, and so make sure you're gonna have the practice before the test. You might be given like different calculators, but if you want to purchase one, that'd be great. However, the textbook is optional. So the textbook is not mandatory. So the student will not be required to have the text uh, doing class. Just don't purchase it. If you buy the book, you can return it. Um, so basically, the textbook is very dense, and they're almost like 800 pages. So I don't really want my student to spend money on it, but you must have your calculator during the test. Are we good? Okay. So let me just So this is what we have for the grade scale. Whatever the grade that you have on Brightspace might not reflect your final grade. Um, because they have different weights. Somehow I just put like assignments for homework on a 20 point, but you know the fact that the homework worth like equal. They carry the same weight as the exams, but not final exam, of course. So if you do well on the homework, it's the same thing as you do well on the first two exams. So since they do have the same weights, um, the grade may not reflect or distribute it evenly on your grades on your grade book. Just don't look at it. If you want to see how your standing looks like before the final exam, you can always send me an email. I can help you calculate them. So this is what we have for the grade scale. So we got 95 to 100, that'll be an A, 90 to 94, an A minus. Literally I cannot change this grade policies. It was on the PACE website. And if you got between 0 to 90, 59% got an F. Attendance and homework if very important. If you miss three class, you have a student miss three classes, okay, at most three classes, right? Which is about like so we got like 89% attendance. So 3% will be added to the final grade. All right, so I have a lot of student did well last semester because they take advantage of that 3%. So you look at the 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 grade scale, look at that between if you got like 87, you got 3%, you're gonna mark up like 1 point higher. So from B plus to A minus. If you got like 80 plus 3%, you got 83. So instead of like receiving B minus, you're gonna get the B. It's the only possible thing that doesn't change the grade when you got like C to C plus. For example, you got 70, you got 3%, that doesn't affect your grade. You still get a C. So that's the only possible thing that might not change your grade. If you got 67, you got 3%, so that'd be C minus. Instead of C minus, you got a C. So those are very, very useful scales. So you just basically have to calculate that. Usually, so there's 3% to the final grade, we mark up like 1 point on the letter grade. Okay, so that's very important. I know that except for today, I will mark all of you present. Even if you're gonna do the check-in, I will show you how to do it. Um, if you do know how to do it, I will show you next class on how to do it. Okay, so make sure you're gonna mark your attendance every class, so that 3%. Any question? You can use any calculator, graphing calculators, or incentive calculator. That's perfectly okay. I have no problem with this. So each exam going to be 2 hours to us. Um, and we do have like a map tutoring. You just have to screenshot this, or you can go to Learning Commons. You can set up the appointments. There's a lot of like helpful tutors to help you do all of the except for the project. I have a student just spend like 20 hours uh, in the Learning Commons for the project, still not being done. So basically, we only do like a very small part of the project. I'll let you know what it is. I I would like you guys to follow the format that I have. and then just prepare for the project based on my sample project. And it's really helpful that you just follow through it, and everybody just basically do the same work. Might have different numbers. The student can work in a group, but when you write a project, you have to be independent. So regarding the project, so which project one and two, so that 20% of the grade, please follow the sample project format, and the students are encouraged to work as a group. But when you write a project at work, the project work must be submitted independently. Okay. So you cannot have like one person write a project and the rest of you gonna just copy that, right? So you must write based on your own work. You might have different numbers, different values. So that's very important. All right. Are we good? So make sure you're gonna download the Excel sheet for both project. So so the student can download a project from the project, the SL file, the Microsoft, on the PACE website for free. So make sure we're not going to pay for anything for this class, except you might have to buy like a calculator. So this one is a free for every single one of us. Okay. And you can go to Paid Microsoft Office. Three 365. So don't try to use the Google itself, because the Google itself gonna miss a lot of um, functions required for the project. I have a student last semester. They use this not only for a single person, like at least like five students. They lack a lot of like important functions, so you can download it under Pace. You just have to type on Google. You can also email if you need any help. So you have a privilege to use the service. You can just get your computer set up uh, in the IT help desk. Okay. Or you can just download it on your own. You can install it from Windows, from Mac, for MacBook and whatever you want. So it's totally free. Make sure you're gonna have it. Okay. That's very important for the project. Any questions so far? Are we good? Anyway, today is gonna be like a headache day. Just let me know if you have any questions, any concern. Once we come back to the campus, I will literally go into um, tell you what it is, what we expect in this class. Are we good? So let's go to the first chapter. Chapter one is gonna be on the file that I posted. So basically, I'm gonna post all lectures under. Oh, I forgot to mention about the homework. The homework assignments can be filed under assignments. So just click on activity. And then go to assignments. So once I post the homework, it will be shown on the screen under the new assignments or something like that. So this is what we expect you to have your assignments, and make sure you're going to submit your homework. Under the PDF file. So that's very important that all of you are going to submit it using save it as a PDF. So once I have posted, we're definitely going to see the file. Okay. And I also forgot to mention this. This is a very important thing as well. So last but not least, those who score well, those who score well on the final exams. So basically means that on the final exam, so so we'll get the lower exam grade, either exam 1 or 2 drop. Okay. So let's say I do not do one for an exam because I'm involving a lot of matrix systems. I don't know how to combine a matrix. So I got like a really, really bad grade on it. But you kind of doing well on the second exams and the final exam. And like I said, the final exams score higher than your lowest grade of the exams. So that lowest grade will be dropped and replaced by the final. So, and replaced by the final. If the final exams score higher. Well, if the final exams score lower, that doesn't affect your grade. You still have exam one, exam two, and a final exam. So that's just for your own benefit. Um, like I said, it's literally not going to get your grade lower or something like that. It's gonna benefit you if you do well on the final exam. So let's say you got, for example, let me just give you one example, just make sure we know how to imagine what it is. So let's say exam one, you got like let's say 60. Exam two, you got 85, and the final exam, So you got about like 80, 82 for whatever it is. So in this case, the third exam will be dropped, will become 82. Okay. So you going to have a SAM score at the final exam. So basically, you're gonna get benefit to that. You're gonna get 82, 85, and 82. However, if you have certain scenario, for example, so exam one, you got 90, exam two, you got 85, and exam three, you got 80, for example. Okay, so meaning that I'm sorry, the final exam is actually the lowest grade. I'm not exam three. There's no exam three. So since the final exam is the lowest, so nothing changed. So your exam one still be 90 points, exam two still be 85, the final exam still be 80. So you're not gonna lose any point for that if you're not doing well on final exams. You still have all of these scores. So I'm gonna keep all of them when they calculate a final grade. For the first case scenario, because because you do really well on the final exam, so you got 82 among, it doesn't matter if, as long as score higher than either exam one, exam two. So I'm going to drop the lowest grade and then replace by the final exam. So that's very, very important privilege that you guys should take advantage of. All right. I feel like that's pretty much it. Any question, any concern? Okay. Regarding to the homework, I will let you know regarding the homework. We'll set up a due date. But if you, for example, you need more time to submit your homework assignments, just let me know. I'm going to extend the due date for that. And even if you submit after the due date, I usually don't take away points um, unless I finish grading your all of the homework assignments. So let's say we got 15 people submitted your homework assignments, and the remaining eight students still not submitting the homework. And if you pass the due date and I haven't graded yet, you can still submit it without any punishment. Okay. However, if it passed the due date and I also finish grading all of these 15 students, meaning that those eight students will get this score lower when I grade you guys. So those eight students gonna take away, I'm gonna take away 10% of your grade. So let's say the homework worth 10 points, you're gonna get a maximum 9 points, 9 out of 10. If the homework was 20 points, you're gonna get at most 18 out of 20. So that's the maximum score. So if I finish grading that homework assignments, okay. If you insist not doing the homework assignments, but at the end of the semester you change your mind, for example, before the final exam you submit all of the homework, I will basically take away 20% of your grade. So let's say the homework was 10 point, you submit it on, I would say, on May 12th, because we know the fact that May 13 was the final exam, on May 11, something like that. I will basically take away 20% of your homework grade. So that's the penalty for submitting late at the end of the semester. And you still attend 80% of your maximum score if you do everything completely. So um are we good? All right. So that's about it. And like I said, as long as you submit your work, and you definitely gonna get some point for that. But I do have a student who submitted like after like 2 days after the final exam. So I don't really count them. Okay. I'm not going to count any homework assignments. So that student that I have last semester just got the grade like that's made it because he did not really submit any homework except for the first two homework. So he actually lost about like 25% of the grade of his grade. So that is not cool because you have to submit your homework before the final exams, right? Everything must be before the final exam. So I basically have a complete list of the homework assignment score. So you submit it like right after the final exam, like tonight, something like that. So that's perfectly okay, but not after the final exam, like a few more days because the day has been finalized, and when I submitted the grades on the portal, basically that way can't change anything for you. Okay. Um, so I'm kind of leaning with the deadline for the homework and the project. If you need any help with any of these, just let me know. I can always extend the deadline, but I can't really extend the deadline for the first project until the second exam for some reason because we need to start the second project, and all of that's gonna take a lot of time to get it done. So I don't want my student just like, well, just submit your work, like everything at the end of the semester. That doesn't work that way. Okay. So you must do all of these assignments periodically. You have to submit your work periodically. Um, so let's say the first two homework must be submitted like before the end of you know before the first week of February, for example, and then we have to start the exams, and then the third homework must be finished before the third exam, for example. So everything must be settled like that. But if you need more time, just let me know, and then you can always submit the homework after it's past the due day. Okay. So deadline and due date. Uh, so those are can be negotiable. However, except for the exam date that we have to take it, um, I'm very strict with the exam date, so we must take the exams on the assigned dates that we have. However, if the student submit work after I complete grading, so 10% penalty, right? And if the student submit work, assignments, project, just making sure we have this. Before the final exam, so that'd be 20% penalty. So I believe that's one of the things that I can do for you guys. The project can also be extended, can also extend it, yeah. But not like not toward the end of semester, the end of semester. Okay, all right. And I know I just spent a lot of times in the on the first lectures, especially I don't have a lot of students. But it is very important that we have this, that we understand this. Okay, so the first chapters that we're going to study about the linear equation and the system of linear equation. So the linear lines denoted by two forms, three form actually. The first one we call the slope intercept form, which is y equal to mx plus b, where we can have the m going to be called a slope, and then the b is called the y-intercepts. The second form that you don't see as very often, but you can still use that on the exams if you want to save some time. We do have the point slope form, which is y minus y1 equal to m times x minus x1, where m going to be called the slopes, and then x1, y1 is the points. You can also use x0, y0. That doesn't change. Point. The lines pass through. They have to be on the line. Are we good? And then we also have the last one, what we call the general form. Which is ax plus by equal to c. So this will be used and seen a lot in chapter. So this will be seen in chapter 5. I believe it's chapter 5. Yeah, chapter 5, chapters 3, I have to say. Okay. So this class, we're going to use a lot of applications of the linear equation. And so linear equation is the most simple, but the useful equation that people use in data analysis, economy, data science. I know it's a kind of different from data analysis, and even in marketing, all of this is business model. So most of this was being used as a regression model. And the linear equation in multivariables. Especially helpful when it related to when it related to many different factors. I can give you some example for that. For example, you can have y equal to 3x plus 1, for example. So this is two variable linear equation. So let's say we call the x going to be the apple price lines. in the supermarket, and then the y's will be the watermelon, for example. So, and then we can always check that they are associated with the slope perspective. So every time that apple pies go up by 3 times, go up by 1 hour, so the watermelon go up by 3 hours, and so on and so forth. Another example, so you can have y equal to like negative 5x1 plus 2x2 minus 0.5x3 plus 5, for example. So you may have like 4 variables, 3 variables. Linear equation. And then you can have like the y going to be the housing prices, right? The next one is based on the the feet, how big is the house, and x2 was based on the distance from the school. Public school, right? For example. And x3 was based on the years of the house. So you can literally check that the how priority was depends on like we can take into like 3 different factors or 5 different factors. So it might affect the price of the house based on what we have. Okay. It's put be 5x. Sorry. And then yeah, so those equations are very helpful because we might basically have those. But you definitely don't see the second equations on the exams. But the first one, and then you might have to deal with X, Y, Z. So all of this are very, very important, especially in the general form. Are we good? All right. Um, thank you for the heads up. Now let me move up to the slope. Just let me know if I'm going too fast because I would like to repeat myself. Sometimes I'm going too slow because all of this that should be picked up from Mat 103. But like I said, I'm trying to make sure that people understand it on the same page. It's represent the ratio between the height, the rise over run. So we can also compute the slope by we call n equal to um, rise over run. So that essentially equal to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So, so how can we read the slope? given by graph, or how can we find the slope given by 2 points? So for example, so find the slope and between the line that is passes through like 2, 1, and -3, 4. I'm sorry, I just close out all of this. So we can have the slopes. It doesn't really matter if you take the first as the first point, and this is the second point. But when you, let's say we take this one x1, and this one have to be y1s, right? You cannot take x1, this is y2. That doesn't make sense. So we have to be x1, y1, and the other one x2, y2. So after this, we're going to do 4 minus 1 over. So remember that we take this, subtract this, right? Meaning that you have to take that and subtract this. So we take -3 minus 2. So that's going to give me 3 over -5. Are we good? So like I said, it's the negative side doesn't matter. If we want to interpret that, you can put the negative sign in front of it, or you can put the negative sign on the numerators. You can put the negative sign on the denominator. It doesn't really change the slope, but we know the fact that the slope is -5. Oh, so it's -3 over 5. Okay. So this is how we get it done. So now we can also apply the equation. Based on those 2 points. So it doesn't matter if we take the first one or second one, but I prefer you can just plug, you can use we can use the first one because it doesn't involving any negative number, and then the point seems to have small values. So we're going to take the first points. Okay. So we can use either points to plug in. So let's say we take, let's say 2, 1, right? So we're going to rewrite as, so we can use the point slope. Okay, 4. So that'll be y minus y1 equal to m times x minus x1. I'm going to use different marker for those things, just making sure. X and y should be fixed, so we're not allowed to change it. So we're going to have y equal to y minus. So y1 was 1, so we had to plug in the second index first. Equal to, the aim was something that we just found earlier, which is -3 over 5. And then you multiply with x. So like I said, x is a fix, so we don't really change it. So subtract x1, so subtract 2. Are we good? So by doing that, we're going to skip the slope intercept point. If you just write something like that on the third exams or the final exams, I will give you full credit for it. I don't really, like take away point if you're not simplifying stuff. All right, guys, so let me just plug in 2.2 and 1 and negative 3 and 4. So now I need to find a line that fit into this. So the line that we had was y minus y1 equal to the n was negative 3 over 5 times x minus x1 is minus 2. So you can literally see that the line that we have to pass through these 2 points. Are we good? Is that good? Okay. Um, but the problem is sometimes that we need to know how to read the slope based on the line that we have, because this is going to be very, very crucial on a second exam and final exams. So I might give you the equation. So you need to know how to read the slope of those inequalities. But now it's just very similar to that. But first, I want you to know how to read the slope based on the line that was given. For example, we can go to that example like we did earlier. And so let me just take another example. So let's say we have y equal to 2/3 x plus 3, for example. Okay. So sometimes it's actually let's not 2/3 of x. Let's do like negative 2x plus 3. Just make it simple. Okay, so So this line was given, and it note the fact that, like when you read it from my from the decimal calculator, you can know that it's y equal to negative 2x plus 3. But like I said, that you will not be given that. You'll be given by a graph. So, and sometimes if the one to was not the whole point, this is not whole values, you have to be extremely careful. So you can start with the one to set over here. So this is what we have for the one to set. So the one to set was e equal to 3. Based on what we have from what we've seen on the line, it was 3. So we can also start from here, and you can also use the analysis to get the slopes. So the slope that we had was the ants equal to, you can just start from 3, you can take the points right here, you can go down by 2. And then let's go to the right one. Are we good? So meaning that when it's go down by 2, it's negative 2. And it's go down by 1, just 1. So we need that the slope equal to negative 2. So then I'm going to have the equation. So that will be y equal to negative 2x plus 3. Are we good? Well, it doesn't matter if you work to any point you want to. You can take on any point on the line. So you can take any points on the line to find the slope. So you can take the point like started from 2 and negative 1. So you can take this point, let's go up by 2, right? Go by 2 and go to the right one. So we can start from here, you go up by 2 and go to the right one. I'm sorry, go to the left one. I'm so sorry. So go up by 2 is positive, going to the left is negative. So the slope still be negative 2. Okay. Are we good? You can start this point. It doesn't, so you can start. You can go down by 2, and then go to the right one. So it's basically going to give you like exact same slope, right? Because it doesn't matter which point you're going to take. But I prefer people take the whole numbered point I can see on the graph. Oh, we're definitely not going to take this because I'm not exactly sure about the coordinate of this point. It might be negative 1.5 and positive 5.6, whatever. So it might be a little bit harder to read. You can start from here. Any point I have to give you the whole values. You can start the point from negative 2 and 7, and then go down by 2 and go to the right one. Or we can also go up by 2 and go to the left one. So that basically going to give you pretty much the same things, which is the slope equal to negative 2. Are we good? Just let me know if I'm going too fast for this. All right. Um, so now let's move to the next part to find how to find the slope and the one to set. in general form. So for example, we're going to have so the strategy involving it just like needs to solve for y. For example, you have like 3x minus 6y equal to 2, for example. So in this case, we need to solve for y to get the slope. So in order to solve for y, we just have to isolate the y variables. So we're going to subtract 3x both sides. So you want to isolate the y. So we have this one equal to negative 6x equal to negative 3x plus 2. Are we good? So I usually write the x first so that um, we don't get any confusion with the slope and the one-intercept. The slope always go with the x, the one-intercept go by itself, it's constant. And then we divide both sides by negative 6. This is 6y, I'm so sorry. So therefore, we're going to have the y equal to, so negative 3 over 6, this is positive 1/2, is x over 2. 2 over 6 is simply, we just divide by 2, both sides going to get negative 1/3. Okay, so after you finish it, you can always look at the slope. So the slope in this case, the slope is 1 over 2 is 1/2, and the one-intercept is negative 1/3. Okay. It's not that bad. You can do more practice, but it's just go like this most of the time. Just have to solve a y. A simple set. Are we good? Any question? Need more practice? Are we good? All right, so remember that I also posted notes um, on Brightspace. You can always look through the notes when you start up the assignments. And this is how we call the points. And this is how we have for the quadrant. And we can also apply the x and y intercepts based on here. So how to find the x-intercepts? X and y intercepts. So all we have to do is just, so for the x-intercept, we just set y equal to 0. And we solve for x. For the y-intercept, we just set x equals 0 and solve for y. Usually if the question gives the slope intercept form, we can see the y-intercept uh, as a constant, like b, so we can see it immediately. For example, we can have the equation like 3x minus 6y equal to 2. So we can have for the x and y values. And then for the x-intercept, just set y equal to 0. And then for the y-intercept, just set x equal to 0. So when you set x equal to 0, you can have negative 6y equal to 2. Right? We set x equal to 0. So you can have y equal to negative 1/3. And then for the same equation, so once you go for the, so this is what we have for the y-intercept. It's 0 and negative 1/3. For the x-intercept, just have to set y equal to 0. So this one just 0. So ignore the y, so this one just 0, just get rid of that, right? So we can have 3x equal to 2. So therefore x equal to 2/3. So we have the x-intercept is 2/3 and 0. Are we good? So this method just involving just skip one of the variables and solve for the other. So the x and y intercept was relatively straightforward, and that's solving for x and y. So those are also very important technique that we need to know how to do when it comes to the first exam and the second exam, but not a final exam. Are we good? I will let you out a little early today because of the snow. I don't see a lot of people coming to class. Um, Let me finish the last two topics. I will let you go. Any question? Any questions so far? Okay. All right. So, Paolo. So, if two lines are parallel, both have same slope. Okay. For example, you have by the line equation that has to the points 1 and 5 and parallel to the line y equal to like 2x minus 6, for example. Okay. So we observe that we can only check the slope for the line over here was 2, right? And then they have the same slope. So they're parallel. So we can have the m equal to 2 as well. In this case, you just figure out m equal to 2. And then we can use the point slope form to write the equation. So we can have y minus y1, which is 5, equal to m is 2, x minus x1, which is 1. So when we plug in the point, make sure that you're going to plug in the y first. And the x should be go on the first point, the first index. Okay. And the slope we have to replace by 2. M equal to 2. So that equations, when you plug in, for example, so we have the point 1 and 5. And then we also have the line, which is y, which is 2x minus 6. And our job is to find the line that's parallel to it and pass it a point. So the line that we found was y minus 5 equal to 2, x minus 1. If you simplify them, if you want to rewrite this as the slope intercept form, so that would be y equal to 2x minus 2 plus 5 is 2x plus 3. So they basically the same thing. It doesn't really change anything. But I also want people to understand that the point slope form is basically the easy way. You can simplify that. You can get the y equal to 2x plus 3 at the end. Are we good? So it's much parallel to it. Are we good? Let's go to another example. And then we go one more topic, so we'll let you go. Example 2. By the equation of line that's passed through the point -2 and 3 and parallel to the line -2x minus 4y equal to 5. So that is the general form. So we have to solve for y first, right? We need to solve for y to get a slope. In other words, we can have 2x minus 4y equal to 5. And then we subtract 2x both sides. I can get rid of that. So we have negative 4y equal to negative 2x plus 5. And then we divide both sides by negative 4. So get rid of that. We can have the slope, which is y equal to, so negative 2 over negative 4 is 1 over 2x. Minus 5 over 4. The 5 over 4 is not very important. And after that, we notice this is going to be the slope. You have a same slope because of a parallel, right? We're going to have a same slope. And then you can have the slope m equal to 1 over 2. And can rewrite the equation. And then the equation. The point that we used was 2 and 3. Negative 2 and 3. And the m equal to 1 over 2. So we can rewrite the equation as y minus 3 equal to 1/2. Of x minus 2 is x plus 2. Okay. So we can always verify that on the graph if you want to. So let's take the lines of the point 2 and 3, negative 2 and 3. And then we also have the equation is 2x minus 4y equal to 5. And then after that, we need to find the line that's passed through this. So the line that we have was y minus 3 equal to 1/2 x plus 2. So that must be the correct answers. Okay. All right. Let's go to another topics. And I will take attendance. So perpendicular. So if two lines are perpendicular, so remember, when they're parallel to each other, they must have the same right overruns. So you can see this is the right. So right by 1 and run to the right by 2, the slope is positive. The same thing is for that equation. The rights overruns must be the same when they are parallel to each other. However, when they are perpendicular, what happens? Both have a negative reciprocal slope. So let me just rewrite this. So the negative reciprocal that we have to flip, we have to flip the fraction and change the signs, right? Okay. So let's see what it is. Let's do some practice. Example one. So find the equation of y. That's pass through the point -2 and 1 and perpendicular to the line y equal to -3x plus 5. So the question gives us the slope intercept equation that was so simple. So you can get a slope. The slope m's. So based on -3, just flip. So -3, we just change to 1/3 to flip the entire fraction. So -3 over 1 has become 1 over 3. So this is negative, become positive. We flip the fraction and change the signs, right? And then you can also write the equation, which is y minus y1 equal to, so y would have to be 1, the point that we're going to use, the m equal to 1/3. X minus x1, which is x plus 2. So minus minus 2, just plus 2. Okay. You can also simplify them if you want to. When you simplify them, that becomes y equal to 1/3 of x plus 2/3 of x plus 1 will be y equal to, or we can also write, but it's not mandatory. So it will be y equal to 1/3 of x. So we're going to achieve that. And you can also solve for 1/3 if you want. Plus 2/3 plus 1 is plus 5 over 3. Okay. All right. Any question? Okay, so if there's no question, let me give you another example, and then I will let you go. By the line equation, that's passed through the point one and 6 and perpendicular to the line. Three x plus 4y equal to 5. Working. Oh, I actually forgot to give you the pictures. Hold on. Once again, let me give you some space real quick. So let me just verify that line if this is the correct equation. So we can have the points -2 and 1. And then the line that we have was negative 3x plus 5. And then we need to find a line that pass through this, pass through the point and, make a 90-degree angles. So we're going to just rewrite y minus 1 is equal to 1/3 of x plus 2. So that's perfect. So it's making 90-degree angles and also perpendicular to the pass through the points. Okay. Finally, that we're going to um, do that example. I'll let you go. So first you need to find the slope of this line. So you got 3x plus 4y equal to 5. So let me just plug that in. So this is the line that we have, and this have to and then the point 1 and negative point so sorry 1 and 6. So I need to find a line that's magnetic degree angle to this and pass to the point 1 and 6. Okay. So we need to find the slope for this and take the negative reciprocal. So we're going to subtract 3x both sides. So we can have this one is 4y equal to negative 3x plus 5. And then we divide both sides by 4. So that's going to give us y equal to negative 3 over 4x. Plus 5 over 4. All right, guys. So now we should know this. The m's have to be the negative reciprocal. And when we take a negative reciprocal, we have to be extremely careful. We're going to flip the fraction. So we're going to flip like 4 over 3. And then we have to observe this one with negative 3 over 4. So this one becomes positive 4 over 3. And then the point that we're going to use is 1 and 6. So we can rewrite the equations y minus y1 equal to m's. M was 4/3. And then multiply with x minus 1. Are we good? I forgot to block the answers for most of this question. All right, so let me just plug that into the equation, the graph, and see if they are making 90-degree angles and pass through the point 1 and 6. So that'll be y equal to minus 6 equal to the slope was 4 over 3, x minus 1. So that makes sense. Are we good? Any question? All right. So if there's no questions, I'll let you go. And usually I'll let you out like early instead of 2 hours. You do the lecture without stop, non-stop lectures. I'll let you out like early, between 20 minutes to half an hour early. Also depends on the class lectures. If you understand it, um, if you need more example, I can do more example. So I also want to let you know that all of these lecture note, for example, it will be posted under um, content. So the lecture note, for example, I'm going to do like a submodules. So let's say 126 notes. So today that we have class on January 26th. So that's the note I'm going to post this right here after class. Today we're going to have the lecture videos because we have the Zoom class. Okay. And remember that the notes will be posted over here. I'm gonna convert the videos on YouTube so you can watch it again for those of you who missed the class. And I will take attendance today, but we'll basically mark all of you present. So if you can help me do the check-in, that'd be great. If you can't, I will basically mark all of you present on Wednesday. Okay. So the check-in thing was kind of very straightforward. All we have to do is just go to tours and go to quickly attendance, and then you just click present, and that's pretty much it. So let's say we're gonna have a 126 today, and then start checking. Just let me know if you're able to do it. If you cannot do it, I will basically I'm gonna fix that tomorrow. I'm sorry, on Wednesday. I'm so sorry. Okay, so I see three people check in. That's successfully check in. And I still have 20 of them not being able to check in. So all we have to do is just like go to tools, go to quickly attendance. If you have your laptop with you, you can do it quickly. You might have to sign in your Brightspace. Okay, so if you cannot do it, I will basically gonna help you on Wednesday, and I will basically check everyone present today. Like I said, we have a snowstorm on Saturday and Sunday. I know that we have a travel commute problems, and some students might not have the internet issues, might have internet issues. The connectivity is very, very bad in my house as well. So once we come back on Wednesday, we're definitely gonna, like do more on the notes. Otherwise, I will see you on Wednesday. Take care. Stay warm.